so it is unanimous in the sense that they have taken the points, they've understood it, they have appreciated what the different points we've made. They have still a lot of doubts because, as I said, I tried to explain some points. You can understand it's complicated. So it's much more complicated than what I told you just now. So there are many scenarios that will develop through that, many complications. So all those things were explained to them. So whatever they could grasp at that point in time, I'm sure that they have found it quite satisfactory. But they have a lot of questions. They have said that please allow us to absorb what has been just shown to us. A lot of information was shown, and they've said that when we'll discuss it and we'll, if necessary, if you have more doubts, we'll come back.
Hadian ba Menteri Rang ba okon ra sangma menin kasngi ula Pynshai bat pynhun yaki menteri ki badan po ko sarkar MDA mentaka sngi pat ka khat pratarik jong jembang araja rafulai na kalyang jong Menteri Rang ba ula Pynshai bat pynhun si yaki MLA ki MDC bat ki bagi pat kit khat ki ba dei na ki parti ki ba pher ki ba penlong ya kalyang sinshar Mekhlea Democratic Alliance ka ba ar kadi ka jeng Pynshai ba ka jeng pynhun jong Menteri Rang ba kalong ha ka jelang jong ki kanhun ki badan hapo ka sarkar MDA hapo sekretariat hakaba sasisin pat Menteri Rang ba ula Pynshai ki ya ka jingpyntreikam ya ka roster system bat kumno ka nika system kaya rap hakaba peneliti ya ka kam jam habeklan bekala patai khobor Menteri Rang ba ula ong ba baro ki kanhun ki badan ka sarkar MDA ki la hon ba ki la shai ka nika jingpyntshai ki jong u mana kalang jong ki la pedang da ka jinghun mensim rengkat ru ka ji telilang malon man pedang ya ka roster system Menteri Rang ba ula Pynshai ru ba kani ka roster system ka dei ka bra patha daka yung bisar jong ka Mekhlea ba kamjuru ka dei ka bra pynhun hapo ka sarkar pedang ba ka dei ru ka hukum ka bra ai daka sarkar pedang ba kamjuru da ka Supreme Court jong kari India laban kerau hang depan ban ka liang ka sang BPP ka khamban ya ka jingpyntreikam gani ka jingpynthamai pat ya ka reservation policy ka ban ka liang jong Menteri Rang ba ula Pynshai ba kanam dan satya ka nunu ka je kran halor ka reservation policy ba lasai ka sngir ha ka jelang jong baro ke parti ka je kran kan lang bai thik tang
Presentation that
halor
we
ka
have given
roster
to the
system
cabinet yesterday. We have given the same presentation today to the MLAs of the MDA, and of course, as I had mentioned earlier, also that the entire concept of roster system is complicated in nature, and hence they had a lot of queries, and we have tried to clarify as much as possible, and to a large extent they have been able to grasp the points, and whatever queries they had, we have tried to clarify those queries. And tomorrow we'll continue the meetings, and we'll be meeting all parties. And once we have that discussion, then we'll be having a press conference after that meeting. Suggestions, and we've noted them down.
So when likely the government will take a final decision on this?
No, the decision is actually taken, and this is the line that we are moving forward in. And now we are reaching out to all the stakeholders and MLAs and explaining to them that what the system that the government is following.
So a political party like HUM today has stated in their statement that discussing the rooster without touching the reservation is pointless. What do you have to say?
No, that's not correct, because reservation is a different subject, but a roster without a reservation without a roster is meaningless. But talking about reservation, talking about roster and not touching reservation is not going to make any sense. That's not correct at all. You have to understand what a roster is. The roster is basically a scheme or a process or a schedule to implement the reservation policy in letter and spirit. Now, what that means, so let me start explaining so that all of you are also on board. What reservation does is that it allows certain reservations in certain categories. Now, these reservations then, when the posts are advertised, then the reservation policy is applied. Now, in the past, what used to happen, if there were 10 vacancies that used to be vacancies were advertised, the reservation policy would apply 4-4-1-1, or whatever the ratio is. Now, in the absence of a roster system, then when the next 10 positions would come out, or 2 or 3 positions would come out, again the reservation policy would apply, in the 4.5 and 1 version, 1.5. Now, when the reservation comes in, it actually charts out and prepares a schedule of which category, which post will go to which category. So if the reservation comes out tomorrow, roster comes out tomorrow for reservation, it'll plot exactly that position number 1 is meant for unreserved. Position number 2 is for Khasi Chintia. Position number 3 is for Garo. Position number 4 will be for Khasi Chintia. Position number 5 will be for Garo. Position number 6 will be for Khasi Chintia. It plots those points in the sense that tomorrow, if there is an appointment or an interview call for 3 posts, that means there will be 1 post for unreserved, 1 for Khasi, and 1 for Garo. That's what a roster does. Now, if the 4th position comes out tomorrow for interview, so number 1, number 2, number 3 is done. The number 4 position is for a Khasi. Hence, the advertisement will say 1 LDA post for Khasi category. If again after a year 1 more post comes out, that's number 5 position. That's meant for a Garo. And hence the advertisement will say LDA position for a Garo. So roster system allows the implementation of a reservation policy in letter and spirit and allows the exact schedule of the post to be appointed. That's what a roster is. And hence, a roster, a reservation policy without a roster will not implement the reservation policy in true letter and spirit. But it's the question of discussing reservation policy is completely different subject. I'm sure that when you see the chart tomorrow, you'll be able to understand the concept better.
But no, population.
Based on population.
So, no, as I said, that is a different subject. That is an issue that can be discussed, may be discussed. That we are not talking about as of now. As of now, the subject in front of us is the roster system and implementation of that. So, hence, we are taking that first part and we are trying to resolve that issue because that is something that is mandated by the High Court. The broader discussion on reservation policy is something that is not going to be discussed in this yesterday or today or tomorrow. So these 3 days have been specifically kept for roster system to implement the roster system in view of the court order and to ensure that the reservation policy which was made in 1972 is implemented in letter and spirit.
So MDA is unanimous in your view?
Yeah, so it is unanimous in the sense that they have taken the points, they have understood it, they have appreciated what the different points we've made. They have still a lot of doubts because, as I said, I tried to explain some points. You can understand it's complicated. So it's much more complicated than what I told you just now. So there are many scenarios that will develop through that, many complications. So all those things were explained to them. So whatever they could grasp at that point in time, I'm sure that they have found it quite satisfactory. But they have a lot of questions. They have said that please allow us to absorb what has been just shown to us. A lot of information was shown, and they have said that we'll discuss it and we'll, if necessary, if you have more doubts, we'll come back. By that point means the roster points.
Yes.
So roster point will depend on the cadre size. So then some it'll be a 10-point roster, some points it'll be 20-point roster, some cadres it'll be 100-point roster. In some concerns, some areas it'll be even a 200+ point cadre roster system. So that's why every cadre and the strength of the cadre will determine the roster points.
And from which year will it be implemented?
No, as I said, it's a continuous process, and we'll explain this to you tomorrow. Everything is being done on the basis of the roster and the reservation policy. So we're very, very clear on that, and it's a simple formula that's being followed. I've been telling everybody now. For example, I can't explain this if I don't have a chart. But as I said, if position number 4, say suppose was meant for a Khasi community, position number 5 was meant for Garo community, position number 6 was meant for Khasi community. Just be with me. So 4, 5, and 6. 4 for Khasis, 5 for Garos, and 6 for Khasi. Now suppose we have reached point number 3, and there are 3 posts going to be identified. The advertisement will say 2 posts for Khasis, 1 for Garo. Now tomorrow somebody can come and tell me, well, why are they getting more? Because that's what the roster is. That's what system is. It puts into place certain points that are there, which are meant for certain communities, and that's how it happens. Okay.